Starfield's horror aspect might be one of the most interesting parts of the game that I don't really see a lot of people talk about. We've heard and seen time and time again that Bethesda Game Studios have taken a lot of inspiration from various media for Starfield, whether that be movies, TV shows, or other video games, or something else, and I think a lot of that is clear just from the showcase. And it's like I said, one of the things that I'm not seeing talked about a lot is the horror aspect of Starfield. Some of the most popular sci-fi media is sci-fi horror, whether that's Alien, The Thing, or even some games like Dead Space. When we take a look at the showcase footage, there's actually a big number of things we can look at and say, yeah, that's kind of fitting the horror vibe. Just even the opening shots on Crete seem to show off some kind of strange alien creature trapped in this glass display case, or it could even be frozen in place since this glass does look like it's filled with a lot of condensation around it. We really won't know that until we finally play the game ourselves and go and explore Crete, but it's still kind of creepy and worth pointing out. Now skipping forward, I'm sure you've all heard of, or at least seen, this whiteboard that shows off an experimental cloned creature which just looks horrifying in itself, but did you know that we can actually see this creature later on in the showcase? Now of course a lot of people do believe that this is Crete and that this is the Crete monster, and while it hasn't been confirmed it does look very similar to what we've seen on that whiteboard. Plus we can obviously see the player using some kind of energy pistol here, and if we go back to the footage of Crete, we can see that we have a pistol in our favourite slot, so it does make a lot of sense. And of course that's not all. When we skip forward to the spaceship flying parts of the showcase, we can see various satellites and space stations and outposts and things like that, which we can likely go and explore. Now this doesn't prove anything, but I just wanted to point them out because how cool would it be to be able to go and explore an abandoned space station and find that the entire station and its crew was destroyed by a horrifying creature still on board, giving us some Alien Isolation vibes in a questline. I personally would love to see stuff like this, and Bethesda isn't new to doing horror themed quests like this. The Museum of Witchcraft questline in Fallout 4 comes to mind, where we explored an abandoned museum only to find a giant dangerous deathclaw waiting to slaughter us. But it's Starfield's creatures too. While many of them seem to just be passive, kind of alien-like dinosaurs and obviously a few aggressive ones, there are a few that could be genred as horror-like. For example, people with arachnophobia, the fear of spiders, are probably going to hate fighting this guy. But even when we take a look at the newest gameplay we've seen of Starfield, we saw even more monsters and creatures that just look absolutely horrifying. Like, imagine this thing chasing you through an abandoned space station. Even the music for this launch trailer actually sounds kind of creepy when you really listen to it. You can even hear some chanting in the background. Take a listen. Now I mean look, the horror aspect of Starfield won't be very big, in fact I'm only talking about it because so many people have asked me to. But even Bethesda's post-apocalyptic franchise Fallout doesn't have too many horror aspects. I mean it's definitely the most horror of all of Bethesda's genres, but it's more just gruesome and dark rather than actually scary. So if Starfield does have some horror aspects, they will likely be small too. But the point is Bethesda have done things like this before. You could even argue that some Skyrim quests have some horror aspects. There were definitely some questlines that creeped the hell out of 12-year-old me when I first played Skyrim. But I guess if we could even think about mods, while that's obviously not base game and kind of far away, horror mods are extremely popular for both Skyrim and Fallout 4, BGS's two biggest games. So there's zero doubt in my mind that Starfield will get a lot of amazing horror mods, even if Bethesda fall behind on giving us some horror aspects in Starfield. Especially when we consider that Starfield is going to be very, very mod friendly. But that also makes me think of DLC actually. Bethesda usually add at least one story-focused DLC into Starfield, and I personally wouldn't be shocked at all if we see a horror-themed questline DLC for Starfield at some point in the future, since, let's be honest, one of the biggest things about space is the fact that it's terrifying. That is pretty much my thoughts on Starfield's horror aspect. I do apologise for the short video, but there's not really much else to talk about, and you guys know I hate wasting your time, so I'm not going to long a video out if I don't need to. But please do let me know in the comments below how you feel about Starfield's horror aspects. I'd really love to hear all of your theories. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, I kindly ask that you leave it a like, as it really does help out more than you can imagine. And if you are looking for a place to stay up to date on frequent Starfield discussions like this, and plenty more, like news coverage, everything from actual news to leaks, I've got you covered, so please do consider subscribing, it would mean a lot. And lastly, as always, a big massive thank you and shout out to our channel members. You guys mean the absolute world to me, and I couldn't do this without you. But that's all from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next one.